Hi everyone, it's Tony Flath, and I'm here today with Tricia Howard. How you doing, Tricia?
Hey, Tony, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks so much. So today we are doing a hashtag talk with T-Man, and we're going to do a little overview here to get to know Tricia better and what she's working on. We've connected through social media, through cloud computing, posting that we do out there and groups that we're involved with, as well as cybersecurity. And we've got a great common connection, Joe Peterson. Go, Joe Peterson. Let's say it. Let's just say it right now. Let's get Joe rising to 30K. She's going to be at 30,000 followers before you know it. So certainly appreciate you connecting us, Joe. So today, want to start off just with getting a better understanding of your background. How what's your story? How you got to where you are? You didn't just show up. So I'm here in Edmonton. And Tricia's in New York, so I will turn it over to New York.
Yeah, thanks so much. So my story is kind of interesting, I think, at least. My background is actually in the arts. My degree is in theater arts. I grew up in Texas and went to an amazing school there, Texas Wesleyan University. There's my little plug. Great theater department, but I always kind of knew that I didn't want to pursue the arts professionally, which sounds kind of weird. I wanted to enjoy my time in college and then move on and be an adult. You know what I mean? And,
the whole arts degree thing, right? I've got buddies that played football and majored in film studies, right? But certainly, like I know just a little bit here on your background. I love the art side. I love the drama side and the theater side because that sure goes with sales. But anyway, sorry to cut you off. Keep going. Loving it.
Oh no, you're great. No, it's fine. I was going to mention that. I mean, they're the same book, different chapter, theater and sales. And I'm like, by no means am I saying that technology is better than the arts because I support it so much. It just wasn't for me. And so when I graduated, I made it's actually kind of funny that it was on social media considering what I do now, but I posted some, millennial-esque post about how nobody cared about my theatrical experience in the corporate world, and I was proven wrong. I found out about an amazing company up in Connecticut and was offered the job in a couple of days, and I moved up to Connecticut by myself to go into this completely new field, and I lucked out so much that I fell in love with it. It was more on the telecom side, infrastructure, and it kind of warped into cybersecurity and infosec, which is where I'm at now. And I found two passions. I didn't even know that was possible. So yeah, that's kind of how I got here. It was a little bit of I woke up today and decided to do it, but it's been really awesome so far.
Awesome. That's such a great story and certainly such an encouragement for women in tech and for girls looking to get into technology, right? You. Like I came an odd route into the whole technology sphere as well. I started in, majored in organizational behavior. It's hard enough to pick a major, right? and then, worked in HR systems, applications, cloud, all the gamut, and then got into the cybersecurity. But, certainly think that's a great story. Like you took off at a young age, you went to Connecticut, you went after this opportunity. Maybe share a little more insight onto that. I'm sure some young, women out there and even some girls maybe that are wondering what they want to do, certainly will get some inspiration out of that and direction.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you. So I have never been a math or science minded person. And so really technology never occurred to me as something to do. And when I started in inside sales. I was cold calling. I was, nose to the grindstone, 75 calls a day at least, etc. Getting hung up on. Fortunately, I have the theater background, so I was used to the rejection. But it's a grind, but you learn so much. Carousel Industries is where I started, and they have an amazing inside sales program. They really take the time to train up young professionals right out of college. I mean, all of us this was our first job, and you're all sitting there in a community where you know what the person next to you is going through, and how to like build each other up. They've got a great thing going over there, and I'm very thankful that I was given that opportunity. So just because you're not science minded, just because you're not technology minded, there are plenty of jobs in this field that don't require that aspect. I mean, I'm having high level conversations with CISOs right now. I have a theater degree, so like it doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be so cut and dry. And I so thank you very much. I do love it. I love the fact that like I love where my path has taken me, because it doesn't have to be cut and dry. It doesn't have to be, well, I got my degree, I want to go into this, so I need to get a business degree. That's not true. It's not true.
So not true. And you know, I've done other things on this, and certainly will post more to this. You know, it is true. Like, you don't know exactly where your path is going to end off. You certainly, a burning desire and a focus and wanting to go after something, things will come out. A path will come out of that. But just like yourself, and it's a great message to you know, anybody who's looking to get into IT or maybe has an interest there, you don't have to be a developer. You don't have to be like, oh wait, I'm the best coder out there and I'm gonna build this thing, right? You know, an understanding and appreciation of technology is fine, but if you kind of get technology and you can talk about it, that soft skill and that sales side, and you know, your whole arts background and theater is huge. It's a huge compliment to being able to present about technology, tell the story about technology, and ultimately, you know, get buying decisions going around that. So that's a great story, and something, you know, maybe a different spin to talk to people that are looking at technology. You know, it's you know, news press, it doesn't just have to be, you know, I'm heads down and I'm coding and I'm not talking to anybody, right?
Yeah, those days are over. Those days are over. It's not just that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So in your experience through that, and, you know, in the sales world, working with, you know, organizations and in cybersecurity, you know, how do you see it most effectively to get to the audience you want, and how do you work with different technical people? Because I know for years I've worked with, from developers to engineers to architects, and honestly, cybersecurity people are even a whole different breed. And
they are.
Yeah, certainly. And I know you got the Star Wars dress on, so you certainly you certainly are relatable to a lot of those individuals. And I'm a big Star Wars fan too. I was going to run and get my shirt, so yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I certainly love to hear that story a little further.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I've always been, you know, a nerd or a geek, if you will. I've always been into that side. So I've had that, which does help. And I am inclined, even when I was in theater, while I started my career in acting, I did move more into the design and technical role towards the end. And I feel like that's kind of how I've gone here now. I like jumped full into sales, and then as I got more interest and more knowledge around the subject, I do find the engineering aspect of it, the technical side, fascinating. So a lot of self-study that is not necessary, by the way, just I'm a nerd and love it. That helped me as far as like have those conversations. And then also just asking. I mean, when I first started, I asked all of my technical folks, what does this mean? What are these? I built a list of all the acronyms, because you know we love them here.
Oh yeah, wow. We can
so
do
much,
acronyms.
much.
Yeah.
Have acronyms for acronyms. So but I also learned from my customers. You know, I would ask, when I was first getting on the phones, you know, I'm sorry, could you explain what that means? Could you talk to me? And they were very helpful. So you can always learn from, you know, from pretty much anybody. That was really helpful. And then from there, social media. Social media is something that I love. I preach upon. I think we connected this way. I think it's fabulous. And you can learn. It has brought it to a global scale where I can learn from people. I mean, you're in Canada. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting here in Edmonton and you're in New York, and thanks so much. It's awesome that you're stepping right up to the video. I know I've done a transition, you know, over the last few years to it, and certainly see it as a great medium and way to get your message out there, right?
Yeah.
certainly really appreciate that. So, kind of looking at where you are and next steps and kind of what you want to do next, and you're climbing up that mountain of success, and you're doing this really great stuff with social media as well.
Thanks.
Along with
Thank you.
the sales business development stuff, right? So what's waking you up every day? Where's you're on top of the world, you're cheering and everything else. what you working on? I'd certainly love to hear more about that.
Yeah, sure. So I am working on. It's really slow to start. I've been really bad about it. I am working on developing my YouTube channel. That's like the next big step.
Oh, cool. Let me know when you get it going. I'll put it out there. Yeah.
I will. I have a couple of videos out right now, but I need to get to like a consistent recording basis. As you know, it's
it's
a lot of
chore.
work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So I'm working on that, and then work-wise, I think work-wise, meaning Optiv-wise, the thing that I have been focusing on the most has been a personal just love of mine, which is security awareness and training. We do have our own like homegrown gamified training module, sorry. And I love it. I thought this was so cool that we have this, and I've been talking to clients about it all over the place because it's something that I really care about, and I think it really brings the business and the personal side together, which is something that I really like. If you follow me on Twitter,
For sure. Yeah.
So I like to kind of bring those together, and it's really relevant not just for the enterprise, but it's an SMB, which is really where I focus. So I focus in the SMB market, but also to people who aren't in the enterprise, who aren't privacy is an issue for everybody. Password security is an issue for everybody, and this addresses that. So I've been working a lot on that. I love it, clearly.
Awesome. That's such a great message. So, in looking at that, and, certainly interested to hear a little bit more about the SMB space, right? Yep. I know I see enough out there about threats happening, and, I just did, a talk with T-Man with Rob May, right? And the human firewall, he's got such a great message. Awesome guy, right? And just on that notion, what do you see? Because I know, there's threats that come up, there's things that happen, and, even when a perpetrator's inside an environment, it's sometimes hard to get that executive to act on it, because it's almost like they are so unknown about it that it's easier to just bury your head. It's like when you have kids and they go from being, young to teenagers to early adults, at some point you just bury your head in the sand, right?
That's so funny. I feel like it obviously differs on organization. As a matter of fact, that right there is exactly why I started getting into blogging and social media, because I love analogies. And what I found was at least from my perspective, what was happening is there's this huge language clash between the tech people and the business people. And so finding a way to bring those two together and say, okay, but yes, we understand that this is a lot of money, but this is actually what's happening right now, and this is what's going to happen if you don't do that. And finding that kind of middle ground way to make it in English, right, has been really helpful. And it is tough, and they are a huge target. I mean, do you think it's easier to break into JP Morgan Chase or break into your house? You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And look at what's happening out there. It's staggering, right? When you really get inside cybersecurity and see what happens, it's quite overwhelming. And I think you make a good point, too. I see this, too, is you got to make it in people terms. You got to talk like common talk, not technical talk. And it's quite easy to get bogged down in jargon. We speak a lot of it every day, right? But I think your storytelling approach, I certainly follow that same thing, right? Is to make it more relatable. And I do agree with you, too. These platforms and getting these messages out really can convey a message to an individual of, how to address it, how to work with it. And really, we're not looking to displace. It's more to work with, right?
Right.
It's more awareness, and it's more about the whole world changing, and how does this digital transformation journey work that can be most effective to you. So Looking here in the last few minutes of our chat today, and really enjoying this, and certainly want to stay engaged with you, as I'm certainly a fan. You're gonna do great things. You're gonna do great things. It's easy to see that. So looking forward in the last couple minutes here, right? Love to hear your kind of last thoughts, and what's going on in life or work. That's the main topic points, or the hot hit items, right?
Yeah, sure. So I would say in life, the top thing is my dog. So I have to plug him. Nice. I promised him I would plug him in there.
Go dogs, yeah.
No, so work-wise, I mean, obviously the awareness is a big thing. And AppSec has really been hot for me recently. So what I found is, everyone is talking about the cloud. Everyone's talking about, blah, blah, blah. It's not a new concept. But application visibility has really come up hot in the last couple of years because of it. And so we've been having a ton of talks around that. We have an amazing team. We call them the OCISO, and they are all ex-CISOs of really large organizations, Urban Outfitters, JP Morgan Chase, et cetera. Amazing deck. It still shocks me. And they come in and actually say, okay, let's look at your environment and let's make recommendations based on it. And working in the SMB space, this has been huge for us, because a lot of, from what I've found anyway, it's mostly one or two people, and they are running not only the security platform, but you're talking about IT, you're talking about telecom, you're talking about all of it, infrastructure, everything. It all comes together, right. And they really are very different. So I've been working a lot on that on the consulting side around applications, because as applications become more and more the norm, it's only going to, the bad people are only getting smarter. So
they sure are, and they're well funded, they're organized. And we've seen this all across. We know this. It's such a different time out there. Wow. Like if you woke up, 2 years ago and saw the future news, you wouldn't believe it, right? It's bizarre, but certainly it is something to watch for. And application development is huge. That's really how you can enable an organization. And really the applications are supporting all that IoT. They're supporting all those edge devices. They're supporting all that further build out. They're supporting a cross platform on the multi-cloud, on the shadow IT, right? So
shadow IT.
There's a whole other topic.
Yes.
I love going into an organization when they say they don't use cloud, and you run a test and there's just shadow IT everywhere.
All over.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, this has been fantastic. Certainly enjoyed it today. Thank you so much.
No, really thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey, have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much, and certainly look forward to touching base in the future.
You as well. Cheers. Bye.